In this episode of Champagne Marketing on a Beer Budget, you'll learn 3 ways you can save money on your small town business marketing. If you are a returning viewer, thank you so much for joining me. And since you already know who I am and what I do, you can skip ahead to the time that Editing Patricia has put on the screen now. If you are new here, thank you so much for joining me. Hi, my name is Patricia with a Y, and my personal why is encouraging entrepreneurial excellence through education, empowerment, and example. And I've done that in a variety of ways over the past 20 years. Presently, I am expressing that through supporting small town, small business owners and unconventional professionals who desire or require champagne marketing on a beer budget, which translates into marketing more for less without looking cheap. If that describes you or interests you, I encourage you to hit the subscribe button below and hit the notification bell so that you can be notified the next time I upload a video, which will include tips, hints, resources, learning lessons, and other information that is relevant to marketing your small town, small business. And I do upload every Tuesday. At least I will be from now on. Now, if you are on a time crunch and you just want to get to those 3 money-saving ideas, you can just skip over this. This is more of a coffee conversation, and while it does include some great information on mindset and growth, if you are just looking for those marketing tips to help your business right now today, head on over to the timestamp that Editing Patricia will be putting on the screen now. If you are a returning viewer or a new one who is nosy with a bit of time, which is the way I am when I am consuming YouTube videos, so that's why I included this part. This is the part where I explain why I created the video and said I was going to upload every Tuesday and then disappeared for a month. So this is the story of how that happened and the lessons I learned in the process. Now, my Toastmasters training would have advised me to just skip over it and get to doing what I meant to be doing, that my audience likely wouldn't even notice if I didn't bring it out and mention it. But I would notice. And I think that there are some important mindset and growth lessons that I learned over this time that will be good for you to know as a small town, small business owner, and some of the challenges that you may have faced or you may face in the future. Now, it is a little bit of a long journey. So again, if you are tight for time, you can skip right to where I share some actual lessons on marketing that you can actually put to use in your business starting today. This part is going to be a little bit of a journey and a conversation about some of these things that affected me and the mindset and the growth that came from that period. So if you are ready for the rest of the sordid tale, I encourage you to go and grab a favorite beverage and join me. Actually, that's what I'm going to do now. I really thought that I had my coffee here and it's not here, so I am going to go and do that myself. Encourage you to do the same. Go grab coffee and I'll come back and tell you all about why I disappeared for 4 weeks. What happened, what I went through, and how it can help you, potentially help you with your small town, small business. So we'll begin for at least this moment about 4 weeks ago when I first published my YouTube video. That first one, if you haven't seen it already, was basically to introduce myself to the YouTube world and start my channel in a new direction. Because until that point in time, all I'd been using YouTube for was as a place to host my videos for my website and for various other sales pages, and not really utilizing YouTube as a YouTube channel. Put some uh, samples of work that I've done and so on there, but wasn't really, intent on using YouTube as a way to reach my target clients, who are small town, small business owners and unconventional professionals. If I haven't said it enough already, you will probably get used to me saying it a lot, because that is who I serve. So I was very excited about getting the YouTube channel started. I had my set ready. I was gung ho, ready to go. And then what happened is that the words of a business owner that I had known and liked and respected started reverberating through my mind. And it really put me into a place where I was doubting myself. Those words came back to me as I was thinking of creating the second video in the YouTube series. These words came back to me and I started doubting myself. And what ended up happening was, instead of creating a YouTube video, I ended up going down the rabbit hole of consuming YouTube videos. And you might be thinking, well, what are you, 14? How could this send you back? How could this impact you so much? Why did you let it stop you? And I'd like to point out that I didn't let it stop me. It slowed me down. It made me rethink things. It made me try and reprioritize things. It did a lot of those R words for me, but it didn't stop me, because here I am back again. But it did make me rethink things, and it did give me the chance to watch YouTube content and see what kind of content I actually like and want to consume. And it allowed me to spend a little bit of extra time learning some of the things that I need to know if I am going to reach more of my audience through this particular medium. And if I am going to actually get views, I have to be interesting. And I'm hoping that you are finding this interesting, because I do think, as small town, small business owners, we do get a lot of pushback and blowback, whether it is about our looks or what we wear or how we do things. It can be really difficult to deal with some of the criticism and some of the feedback that might come at you. And there comes a point where you have to decide what is important and who is important, because it is important to be open to feedback, to be open to critique, so that you can consistently improve. And I do always want to improve, and I always want to avoid making the same mistake twice. And I think the lesson in this is, number one, you are, as a business owner, going to be faced with criticism and feedback that might hurt. And it is important to take a look at it and decide whether it is worthy or not. Please don't do what I did and let it stop you from moving forward. But if it does happen to you, know that you can find ways to pick yourself up and keep going from that. Yeah, so that is basically the entire story of how I came to be go from really excited about starting this YouTube channel to certain that I could never do this and I should just disappear and fade away into the hot sunset forever. Obviously, I got over that and I am now committed to being here every Tuesday with a new upload to help you as a small town, small business owner or unconventional professional, that I am going to be delivering hints and tips and resources to help you market more for less without looking cheap. So now let's get into it and actually get to it and talk about some of those ideas for saving money on your marketing. Each of these strategies comes from a longer form presentation that I do on champagne marketing on a beer budget. Number one on the list is pulsing. I originally learned about this strategy when I was studying radio marketing, and it actually comes from the book Radio Marketing for Dummies. Now, with this particular strategy, you advertise heavy one week, and then the next week, you don't advertise at all. So you have a heavy rotation one week and then radio silence the next. Now, this technique, well, it did apply to radio, it also applies to other forms of marketing. You can do this with newspaper ads, you can do this with Facebook ads, anywhere where you are doing advertising on a consistent basis. If you are looking to save money, then pulsing could be one way you could do that, because you can save up to 50% of the monthly cost if you do it that way. Now, this does only work if you are approaching that media or using that media on a weekly basis, on an ongoing basis, so that you can go on again, off again, if that is a medium that you're usually in. Most of the time, your target market, your customers won't even notice you being gone in the weeks you aren't there. But again, this one tends to only work if you are actually keeping to a consistent schedule. You can't do it where you advertise for one week and then don't advertise for 3 months. That's not what pulsing is. So pulsing is really an on again, off again rhythm to your media marketing, and it can save you up to 50% because, of course, you are only marketing or spending money on the off weeks. Number two on the list is printing. Printing is an area where most small town, small business owners and unconventional professionals can save a significant amount of money. The easiest way to do that is to use black and white print wherever possible. Now, it is important when it is customer facing paperwork that you want to maintain your full color and have it looking nice and glossy. But if it comes down to things that are shared within the office or shared with colleagues, things that aren't in the eyes of your customers, consider going to black and white ink. The price differential between what you spend on color printing versus black and white printing can be significant. You can save up to 70% just with that switch and by focusing on that. Now, again, you do not want to take the color away when it comes to your customer print materials, but you do want to consider it anytime it's something that the customer is not going to see and is not going to deal with. And that can save you a lot of money. Number three on the list is planning. This is another trick that I picked up when I was working in radio, when I discovered that we were able to give up to 40% discounts to the clients who would commit to a yearly schedule. They didn't have to commit to an ongoing schedule. They just had to commit to a schedule over the course of a year. So, for example, the flower shop, who only advertised about 4 times a year, was able to get 40% off of the rack rate of the advertising rates simply by committing to those 4 times a year in advance. And you might be able to do that too with your local media outlets, where if you go and say, I'm going to be advertising around Mother's Day, around Valentine's Day, around grad time, and around Christmas time, can I get a discount for committing to that? And that just might save you up to 40%. And so there you have it. Those are the three top saving strategies for small town, small business owners for this week. If you found those tips helpful, I would love if you would give this video a thumbs up sign. And if you have any comments, feel free to use that comment area and let me know what you thought of these ideas. And if you are looking for more ideas on saving money on your marketing so that you can market more for less without looking cheap, do look me up at Patrysha. That's Patricia with a Y.com. I will be back next week with some more tips, hints, and resources to help you make the most of your marketing budget. If you have any ideas, if you have suggestions for topics you'd like to see covered in this series, be sure to drop them into the comments section. Until next time, have an amazing rest of the week, and I will see you next Tuesday.